Hey kids, how you doing? Comic Book Man here, telling you that the December 2009 Hero of the Month is none other than that amazing Amazon herself, Wonder Woman! Wonder Woman! That's right, all my Wonder Woman trade paperbacks are going to be 25% off all month long. Not the junky stuff, not the overstock, not the stuff I can't get rid of, but everything I've got that's Wonder Woman related that's a trade paperback is 25% off. That's from the 1st of this month through the 31st. Remember, Christmas is this month. If you have that special girl, she might like a Wonder Woman trade paperback, so don't forget, all month long, Wonder Woman, 25 off.
I'm the devil's candy!
Hey kids, Comic Book Man here. There are a bunch of sales going on in December over and above what we're already doing, and I just want to make sure that you know what's going on. This coming 20th is Founders Day. It's a Sunday, and we'll be here from 11 to 4 Founders Day, Sunday the 20th. After that is going to be Midnight Madness, which is going to be the 23rd, Wednesday, New Comic Wednesday. Starts at 8 a.m. as always, but it'll go till midnight. Stop off at the website to find out more about that. And also, Dollar Days is coming up at the end of this year from the 27th to the 31st. So stop off at the website also to find out more about Dollar Days, Midnight Madness, and of course, Founders Day Sunday.
It's time for Shop Talk with the Three Stooges, only there's 4.
Oh, you're going to love this one. They're in way over their heads. Here's Shop Talk.
Hey kids, how you doing? Comic Book Man here. Welcome to my video outhouse. It's time once again for Shop Talk. And this is going to be a special Shop Talk. We're going to do a couple of them in a row about the topic of women's comics, women in comics. And joining me to do Shop Talk, as always, is the Outhouse Gang.
It's us, good old.
Which is...
Good old JR and...
Bo and
Sweet Dan.
And of course, me. And as you probably noticed, there are no women here.
Not one.
There's
never
no
any
women here.
which makes this segment absolutely pointless.
In the outhouse. Somebody's got to... No, it's not pointless. Somebody's got to talk about it because nobody talks about it. And why aren't there any women here? One of the reasons there are no women here is because these guys are here because I know them or they're customers, but they've been coming into the store. They've been coming into the store for a long time, okay? And I know them. The problem most stores have, mine included, is we don't get many women, females, in the store. And the problem with that is 50% of the people on this planet are female and they all have money, and this is an industry that has seen better days economically. So that's a market out there that needs to be exploited, which is the reason, Bo, why we're talking about this. The future of this industry depends on reaching out to other markets, and the women's market is a huge market. Okay. Now, what can be done? What can be done? I put a thing on Facebook earlier this week asking people to tell me what could be done to make the comic book industry more acceptable to women. What can we do to get more women in to stores to buy comics? And what comics should the companies be making, okay, in order to get women in the front door? Guys, and again, girls, I know that these are guys, but this is all we got to work with. You don't come in the store. If you did, I'd have a woman here. But guys, what do you think is the state of women's comics or comic books about women?
There are comic books about women, but they're mostly...
For women.
For women. There's a big difference
yes,
because
okay.
there are comic books about women, but they're not for women. They're for guys because they're superhero women who are well endowed and all that sort of thing.
It's a male market. There's a male market. There's a difference between a comic book that is written to appeal to a woman and a comic book that's written with a female character who's basically just a guy with tits or a vagina, which is essentially all a lot of superheroines are. That's essentially
going
all
to
they
use
are.
those words. Kind of.
Yeah, we had rules.
You weren't supposed to use those words.
I think vagina. I think
breasts.
vagina.
Oh, clinical.
Oh, breasts. Okay, breasts. I hope I didn't insult any women out there with the word
We're
tit.
going to get clinical. We're going to do the clinical.
Fine, if you need to.
No, I'm just. That's fine.
But anyway, yeah, there's a big difference between some superheroine who's basically just a guy in drag running around with the rest of the Justice League or the Avengers, and a book like, say, Promethea.
Are you calling Wonder Woman a guy in drag?
For a lot of her years, yeah, that's all she's been.
At Comic-Con Wizard World, I saw like 3.
Well, that's a whole different. That's a whole different
a
thing.
different story.
That's a whole different story.
We'll cover that in another shop.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, comic books for women with female characters.
There are virtually none at this point that are written. Well, okay, I take that back. We have certain ones. Buffy, which is a given.
Thank you, Josh Whedon.
Given, yeah, written by a man.
Yeah, by a man.
All right, let's back this up. Let's go right to the
Susan.
root of this problem,
Yes.
if I may, comic
Please.
book man.
Certainly. Go right ahead.
And we've said this before.
You
about
guys are the brain
all
trust.
sorts of subjects in comics. It comes down to the writing. Now, this format, this format in general, this is the plague to women. No, it doesn't matter what's inside of it. Doesn't matter what's on the cover. If they see it's a comic book, ew, no touch. So what do? Writing, writing, writing. Let's go back 15, 16 years. A little book called Sandman came out, written by Neil Gaiman.
You were running a store at that time.
I was running a store at the time. And when that book came out, it only took 2 or 3 issues before the word got around. And this was pre-internet day, kids. Pre-internet. Women were starting to come in asking for the comic. Why? It was well written. Right around issue 8, a great female character came in who was not a superhero.
Yeah.
Who was not an ass-kicking character.
Who was it?
It was Death.
Yeah.
It was a compelling character. That's what it comes down to. You want women to come in the door, give them compelling characters that speak to them on the female level. That's not saying that that's a lower level. That's just a different mindset. Neil Gaiman wrote this book. He tapped into it. Bill Willingham sort of comes close with Fables, I think. But outside of that, it's a man's world in comics, unfortunately.
What about you, Bo? Next, what do you think, Dan?
Well, I'm with JR. I think it comes down to subject matter and what they're producing. In order to get women in the store, the easiest way would be to take properties that are popular with women, like Twilight or True Blood, and spin them off into comics, and then from there hope they find other books that are written geared toward them. And you don't really have many. JR touched on all the good ones, and I'm not going to try to back that up with any more lists, but I think what it is good writing transcends gender. You know, as many female fans as there were of Sandman, there were male fans,
Exactly.
and Fables is the same way. If the subject matter is there, if there's substance, if there's quality, women, men, they're going to find it. They're reviewing comics in Entertainment Weekly. They're doing this stuff all over the internet. There's ways out there to get this stuff in the hands. It's just about getting them through the door, and I think that's a bigger issue. There's not many comics featuring strong female roles in lead positions. I'm a big fan of Power Girl, and I know that's kind of a jokey character because she is top heavy. And she does wear skimpy clothes, but at the same time, her secret identity as Karen Starr is a very respected businesswoman who doesn't wander around traipsing like Jungle Girl drawn by Frank Cho.
And that's part of the joke behind the series.
Yeah, the joke is that she's a well-endowed woman, and that's where all the attention has been put for so long when she was created. But now, I mean, Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray really do a good job of characterizing her. Again, male writers, though. And, you know, you don't see too many strong female writers out there in comics right now. Gail Simone is tackling team groups and now Wonder Woman. But other than that, I mean, who was the last female writer you could think of?
Well,
You had
Jill Thompson, who's also part of that Vertigo group during the whole...
Thompson-
Imomen's wife, who's writing Runaways right now.
She writer.
Yeah, but she does more drawing than she does writing. Judy Picoult is a fine, well-known female writer. She wrote Wonder Woman. Nobody cared. You know what the problem is? It's not bringing women into the stores. Women don't come into comic book stores. They go to bookstores because the common perception of most women from comic book stores is, look at all the stuff for guys. Look at the people in the store. They're all weird looking.
And we're going to
They're all
cover that.
strange and unusual.
We're going to cover that in another shop talk. We're going to cover that in another shop talk. But you mentioned Jodie who?
Jodie Picoult.
Jodie Picoult.
Jodie Picoult, the reason, and I know where you're going with this, but I think the reason that didn't work with Wonder Woman and Jodie Picoult writing it, Jodie Picoult writes romance novels for the most part, not cheap, trashy ones that come out every week or whatever, but she's a decent writer of romance fiction. When that readership probably heard she was writing Wonder Woman, that didn't translate for them. They didn't look at those books that they read and think, oh, I really want to read Jodie's Wonder Woman.
And but they tried. I mean, DC did push the
It's
fact
an effort.
that they had
It was an effort by
major
DC,
league
right.
writer working on the book, and it just didn't work.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a woman writer. We're going back to Gaiman. Brian Wood did Local.
Yes.
That was another male writer who that book had a large female contingent. That had a large readership of women.
But Brian Wood's Local was written by Brian Wood, but it was drawn by a female artist.
But it's the writing, Bo.
No, I think in this case, Becky Cloonan brought in more people than Brian Wood.
What do you think?
What do you
Is it
think?
the writing? Is it the artist? Is it the total package? What do you think? Let us know what you think ought to be done by the comic book industry in order to increase female readership, and does it start with the actual product? We're going to talk about future shop talks about what comic book stores need to do. We're also going to talk about creators, what creators they ought to reach out to. But that's it for this time. Stop off at the store's website to see this shop talk and other shop talks. Till next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And the Video Outhouse gang.
Saying
The Outhouse Gang saying stop by again because we're going to cover this again in the next Outhouse. But until then, bye!
Come on in, ladies.